All right. So I have this 454 Turbo 400 set up for sale. And I'm getting a lot of response. There, one certain individual happened to be the first one that contacted me. And this is mostly for him, unless he decides not to get it. And then I'll go on down the line. Those that contacted me, they know what I've said. I've told them, I'll be getting a hold of each of you individually in the event that the original interest person falls through. So I'll give you a little overview on it. It is the 454 high performance, 4-bolt caps all the way down the line. It is, best of my knowledge, they call it the Gen 4. I get confused sometimes between all the different gens, but this one, they say goes through the 70s, 80s, and into the early 90s. So it was a pretty fresh long block. Inside, super clean. I had absolutely no reservations about purchasing this motor for myself. The tin that was on the valve covers and the oil pan and the garbage that was on the front of it was just that. It was garbage. It was more banged up and more trouble to clean up and restore than to just buy new. And because the tin stuff with this square body C10 era is more expensive than the pretty stuff, well, the pretty stuff got purchased. That's a bonus, and it sure turns out nice. It was $1,500 alone just for the front pulley system, the serpentine drive and all the accessories. Everything came as a matched up component set. So we put all that together. Got the shorty block hugger type of Doug Thorley headers, and they're stainless steel. They have a couple little bruises put in them just for frame clearance, because I didn't want to notch out my frame. So I took a drift and made a couple of little indentations. You might be able to see down, I think that second and third tube there. The second and third tube there have slightly massaged dents into them just so they wouldn't rattle against that frame. But otherwise, really nice fit, just as advertised. The air cleaner is an old Cadillac style. It's a repop. I've had it on a couple of vehicles. Cleaned it up, painted it up, put a nice sticker on there, and adapted it to the General Motors stock 454 throttle body fuel injector. It's got two injectors. It's just like a 2-barrel type system as far as the throttle body goes. And then the injectors dump the fuel down on this header over here at the collector. There's wideband O2 sensor, so it runs through an OBD1 fuel management and spark timing computer, and that's what keeps this guy in motion. It is not optimum. I don't care for it. In retrospect, I would have just bought 750 CFM carb and an HEI distributor and been done with all these sensors and doodads, and just been all on the motor and nothing on the computer. But that's the only thing it's lacking. This computerized throttle body isn't what it's cracked up to be. So your carburetor and HEI away from this thing being balls out. I mean, it roasts the tires. I've spun the tires on it a time or two. Once was just pulling it into the garage. And at that point, I spent another half an hour scrubbing all the sticky rubber off of my garage floor. But still sparkling clean. I've got less than 10 miles on it. I've been around the block trying to tune this airbag suspension, and I'm just not happy with this whole airbag setup. The direction I went with this build, it was going to have, that comfortable air ride kind of suspension. Well, I get a motion kind of sickness, weird feeling out of it. I guess I'm just an old lumber wagon type of suspension person. Call me old-fashioned. I thought I'd come into the next century with the airbags. It's just not going to work for me. So I'm going to end up putting the coil springs back on it, or I'm going to do swap over to a whole nother frame that's got modern LS and modern suspension, what have you. But in the meantime, this guy is for sale. I got the spotlight on it right there, so it keeps nice light shining down there. We can see everything we're doing. What I'm going to do is go ahead and crank her up. That throttle body sometimes gives me fits, so no judging. There we go. So oil pressure's up there. Get away from that radio. YouTube will certainly get me. No smoke, no soot, no garbage coming out of there. The motor itself is clean and beautiful. Spinning like a top. I haven't got the timing figured out on this thing. They say there's a plug on here you got to disconnect, and I've tried that. I just don't know. I'm going to get rid of this computer bullshit altogether. But it sounds great. It sure enough looks great. And that's the name of that tune. And I think we'll just end it right about here. Thanks for watching.